Hello YouTube, Roman Kazi here with another legendary video. At the Capitol here, running my max skill DPS build. Don't know what to expect. When you're first running in a pug, I default now to my maximum skill DPS on some of these so I can make sure that we just don't get terrorized. One of the people ran all the way up front. In one of the comments one time someone left a message, they just run past this whole first part. So I was like, oh, this person must have done it. I've never seen this happen before in person. I've heard someone talk about it. I don't know what's going to happen. We're doing pretty good with these first guys. There's a guy over here to the left that's going to come around. I got my skills out. It's no problem. I talked to you a lot about fitting your play style to your group. If you're a person with high enough skill level that you have enough builds that you can do it. So having a lot of DPS is never going to hurt. And you can see, if I'm the person that's up leading the charge of the three of us, then I got a really good group of people to play with because I am super conservative. So when it comes to playing. So in this build, I'm trying to proc the status effect part. You can see that icon on the very bottom. You can see momentum is up, and then you can see the status effect one that's bleeding out. Goes for 27 seconds, gives me 20% more skill damage. And once I feel confident that I proc that, which I didn't, then I switched to test subject and I got to hit someone, and if the skills hit someone, then I start getting a lot more damage, and there we go. That's the 120,000 is for my drone, and that used to be what I'd want my turret to do. So pretty decent situation. But what's going to happen next is, I don't believe it, is nothing's happening. Where are the dogs? Where's the chunga? So we move up forward. So what you saw there for a while, there was another spawn that to the left, and that was it. And then we've kind of skipped, I don't know, 2 of the spawns. So that's a real great kind of strategy. I have to stop the video to see what that was up there, but pretty happy with that person. That's a new thing. I'm going to have to try to do that. That is that person, Set from Adrian, Texas. Thank you, sir. This goes great. So normally I would think that he would then glitch through the gate, but he doesn't. They just open the gate like normal. So I'm not really sure at this point what's going on. I'm not sure. This is way faster than I've ever done this first part, but it's not going to hurt me to still remain skilled DPS. What I am thinking about is who's going to blow up the EMP in the next part, because I will probably go Pulse Jammer, Vial Jammer here next. This is easy. You normally open only one gate. If you put your turret there or on top of this gate, you're going to hit everyone that comes in from the right and the left. What we've talked about, or what I've talked to you about before, is shaping the battlefield. So if you push hard on one side, it's going to force the people around to the left. You can see our one friend goes forward, and he's great. He never goes down. I never checked his build. He's just good player, good tactics, but he might have the best build in the world. I don't check it out. When you see that helicopter, that means that you're going pretty good. So we're moving at a really good pace through this. So even with that first part, we're making a good time through here. And so I'm pretty sure I'm going to go. Now my next decision is, do I go Pulse Jammer Maximum or Pulse Jammer Conservative? I guess middle level. So So I have 3 levels of pulse jammer. I have one for the end of Manning National Zoo and Tidal Basin. That's maximum protection. That's a yellow build with improvised, and I got all blue, yellow damage reduction, elite damage reduction. Then the next one is the build I used to run for a long time. It has some armor regen, it has some skill damage, and it's decently fast, but the status effects isn't that high. Then finally, I have a build that has maximum status effects for me and maximum recharge time. So I'm putting out a lot of damage against tech. I'm putting out 80,000 against normal people. I'm putting out 77,000 or 72,000 or something. So I'm making the switch here. And I'm going to have to eventually, when the drone comes back, I'm going to have to switch it to pulse. And then I'm going to be set. So I'm ready for the next part. In this next part, I keep a turret out in front of the door in case we get rushed. So I will eventually change that to seekers if I think that we're not going to get overrun. And at this point, I don't really care that they're ahead of me because I have nothing to do with that EMP anyways. I'm skill-based, so I need them to take care of that for me.
System disrupted.
You might be wondering why I'm not using my other latest red build, because this is so easy with the EMP jammer pulse. It's ridiculously easy because you're pulsing through your AoE pulsing through walls. So that's up. I'm going to throw the turret out in front of this door, and then we're locked down in here. And then I'm going to start pulsing. What I realized though is that these guys have seekers on pretty fast recharge as well. So we're putting out a ton of AoE damage. So we're not going to get rushed. There's a guy walked out there, but he just died right away. So if my turret ever goes down, I'm going to put seekers out. The danger is in between seekers. So seekers like 20 seconds, the EMP pulse is 12 seconds. So there's a time where I'm not going to have any damage except Scorpio. And the other thing with this build, Scorpio is going to do creeping death. So I'm going to apply vial to them with my shotgun. So the key to this build, a key to a vial build, is you're putting status effects on people. So if you want to be vial build and you want to do chem launcher flame, perfect. Do you want to do chem launcher mud thrower? Perfect. Chem launcher oxidizer, that's skill based, not status effect. If you want to do vial jammer and you want to blind with the firefly, that's great as well. You just want to be able to put out as much status effects as possible. Back in the day when Seeker Mines in Division 1 put on a bleed, that would be just the maximum. And sometimes you could try it with public service announcement. Ultimate Shield did a video about a couple underutilized skills. It's that drone bomber, and then there's what was the other one? Firefly Demolisher, and you might as well include the firebomb grenade seeker thing, because that's horrible. Do people not use those skills because they're bad or because other skills are better? I think it's a combination of both. I'm going to give this to the developers. To think of skills that would be good and useful, it's got to be hard. I mean, they're variations on a theme at a certain point. But the drone bombardier is just, no one's going to use it because it's crappy to implement. There's no easy way to do it. I told you on my other build that I'm healing people with, I use the survivalist seeker thing because it's a smart healer. So I like that. And on a legendary, people are in place. It goes to the person and heals them. This part's very easy. You shouldn't die. If your group lets the people come up to this area, you don't have enough horsepower. A lot of times you'll have that dog will run right through you all the way to the end and run back. You don't have enough horsepower. Doesn't mean you're not going to finish it. You don't have enough horsepower. With all these seekers and jamming, we got tons of horsepower. And on top of it, if I haven't lit someone up with the jammer pulse, I'm going to put status facts with Scorpio. I'm going to submit another thing to you. When you're in this build, you're probably, you'll see sometimes I'll throw out heals. But in reality, the DPS is kind of what you need. But you might have a build that's not in that. So Ultimate has a build where he kind of does a little bit of both. He can do damage and he can heal his people. And that's great. And I have a build like that too. So I think that's a build you got to have. This build falls somewhere, this particular build of Vileplumer falls somewhere in between my max DPS. When I say max DPS, that's the max single target DPS. So if we're going to break down DPS even further, you have single target DPS and you have AoE DPS. And so it depends knowing the fight. What I realize a lot of this knowing the fight. So let me tell you what happens here. Everyone's going to spawn in the top part. On a heroic, you run up those stairs before you do anything and you spawn camp on heroic. You go up there and you just press that spawn point. There's a door up there and 3 spawns come out and you do that easily. Almost any build. Having done this legendary so many times, at this point, I just stay in here and if everyone died, might be harder because they opened 2 doors, but if everyone died, I can still get us through here just with my skills. Not my skill as a player, but just because I have a build that can stay in protection out of direct line of sight and I can damage everyone. I want you to think about another thing. In some of my videos, I'll talk about aggro. Aggro is in MMO RPG. It's amount the enemy that you make the enemy have anger towards you, or it gets mad and wants to take you out. So in some games where you have dedicated healers, when they heal, that gets aggro because the AI goes, I should take out that target. Really, it determines the priority of how to take out targets. You have the same kind of aggro meter, or which targets I should take out first. One of the unintended consequences of Vileplumer is, where are all the drones? Oh, they don't have any. Furthermore, with this much pressure on the enemy, I don't have any drones to kill them anyways, because all the drones are going down no matter what. So what you see, and that's my dog Roxy. So what you see in this video is there's no drones going because they have so much pressure on them and they have so many seeker mines going that they can't even do anything. Roxy, knock it off. But I still go back here because that's still like a habit, because I'm afraid I might get some aggro and there's nothing I can do about it. So you can see the other folks are out there. One thing I have learned in here, when my seekers come back up, I am going to throw the seekers into the opening of the doorway. If I don't do that, sometimes it goes red because they can't land there, because it lands in an area that's inoperable or a place where it can't land. So putting it there just forces me to have to find a new spot. So if I go ahead and decide to put a spot there already, then I know that it will go out there and it will work. So we got through this part. The next part's even easier. I'm going to stay behind a wall there And when I stay behind that wall, we're going to be able to target everything. Now, one thing I didn't do with the video is I didn't speed it up. I didn't speed it up because, one, it's right at that threshold for me. I try not to have videos go over 30 minutes. And some of you are tired of my voice probably by 5 minutes or less than 90 seconds, if that's what the analytics say. But in reality, what's going to happen is eventually, if I show you the whole video for the people that don't mind letting it play or whatever, you're going to see that, you're going to see the whole gameplay. There's no anything in there. So there's no like, well, I cut this and I sped it up and I did this. If I sped it up, you would just see it would take half the amount of time. But the point, what I'm trying to show you is certain builds have certain synergy together. So I would say, my argument would be, if you're doing legendary, if you need heals, you probably don't have enough DPS. And I've talked to you about this before, about having gameplay. Roxy, look, here, I can squirt you. The gameplay has changed where they put a premium over offensive versus defensive. I think I've told you before, I used to play a game called Command and Conquer. You could build like bases that, nothing could come in. If you had enough time, you could make a base that was impregnable. Unless someone got maybe like a nuclear strike and they took out your power, but that's a whole different story. And you can see we're putting so much pressure on the enemy that I can go out and heal, pick that guy up. I never do that, but there's so much pressure on them with the grenades, so much. I just want you to think about that. You have to think about, the AI, if the person's making the AI, if the developer's making the AI, if they make them super aggressive. Think about those dumb True Sun shotgunners that just run at you in a straight line and get mowed down. Or the hyenas that get all hopped up on drugs and then run straight at you. And you can shoot their little bag and blow them up. In Division 1, you'd have the cleaners and you could shoot their tanks and blow them up and do all that stuff. So what you have in all of this is, if I'm more offensive, I can take the enemy out before they take me out. Now, one of the guys is going to go heals, and you can see at a certain point, I'm going to throw out a healing hive. We have so many grenades going out. What's the benefit? So this is the other thing I want you to think about. What's the benefit of what you're doing? If it adds no value, you should change. We already have 2 guys doing Seekers. They're just as fast as I am. We're still doing good. I'm still doing my main thing that's pulsing. I can throw out the heals. But I think the guy that decides to go heals, I'll have to see if it's it might have been a guy that had like 3,000. Maybe he's a good healer, whatever. I don't know. But I want you to consider that if you're in a group that doesn't have enough DPS, you need heals. You need heals. If you're in a clan or if you're in a guild, you should really, all right, my opinion now, your clan or guild should help you go through the toughest content and help gear you up so you can go through the best content, where they can teach you how to play at least one style through every one of the legendaries. Here's how you do this legendary. You can try it a different way. We can do variations on a theme like this person did in this one. They ran forward. Again, we're not doing a speed run, so, we're taking a little bit of time, but what you're going to see, this is why I didn't speed it up. This is how long it should take you. It shouldn't take you an hour to do any of these. I'm going to call them legacy legendaries. They're easy. Are they easy for me because I know the fight? Maybe that's true. I went through a group in District Union. I'm not sure. Did I make a video of that? I think, I made a video of me failing, but the group I got right after I failed, we just went right through, like shit through a tin horn, as they say. So right now we're about 20 minutes. So just to give you perspective of how long the fights take, this is the last fight. This last fight is going to take a third of the whole, right? We've gone through, let's say, 90% of the content or 80% of the content, and it's taken, 66% of the time. The last 20% is going to take a third of the time. Now, if the other guy would have stayed seeker, maybe that would have been okay. But at this point, everyone just wants to finish. No one wants to wipe on this level and start again. So I want you to think about that. Do we have enough DPS? In District Union, after the first fight in District Union, first fight in title in this one, they're shitty fights. You just got to get through them. But in District Union, that second fight, you're going to face 3 Chungas. If you can't beat the Chungas before they get to that gateway that I've talked about, you don't have enough DPS. So you're going to have to think, you're going to have to use more strategy, stay more in cover, and then you might need heals. In this fight, in Capital, how do you know if you have enough DPS? Well, I think you have enough DPS. I think we were talking about that one dog. That's kind of an easy fight in those hallways. After you get in the first building, that's just kind of a battle of attrition. Really, when you get in that hallway, if that dog leaves that area that it's starting from, you don't have enough DPS. Roosevelt Island, first fight again, is like the first fight here and in District Union. That fight is a tough first fight. The next fight is, it's a relatively easy fight. You're fighting the Johnny Fives in that next section. The section after that, there's snipers. That's not really a fight. When you get to the helicopter section, after you kill the snipers and you go through the whole, 3 Chungas are going to come. Those Chungas. The Chungas and the dogs should just be dead. They shouldn't march up the hill. If you get pushed back down that path, you don't have enough DPS. The problem when you're doing a legendary is that when you're doing a legendary, if you don't have enough DPS and you fail, then what's going to happen is you're going to have to start all over. So, Roxy, knock it off. So what happens is you're not going to be able to start over. You're either going to wipe, which is going to be shitty, and then you're really going to have to start over, or everyone's going to quit, or if by some miracle you make it through there, you got to make some adjustments. So the problem with when you're going into these fights, if you don't have your build set up, that's why maybe on the first fights, you're gauging all that. You're just gauging what people are doing. And you can see it in this video. You can see on the very first fight, we had a guy run forward. I don't know if that guy's going to work or not, but I took my best build that I have. And then I went to the best build that I thought that would help us move through here. Now in this section, you may think you don't need Vile Jammer in this section, but those dogs will grenade the crap out of you unless you keep putting them down with your Jammer Pulse. So what you have to do, you have to make sure you have someone that has that Vile Jammer Pulse so they can keep the dogs down. Otherwise, you're going to get bombed nonstop. So the other guy, God only knows where that other guy is, but he's out there chasing whoever, doing whatever. And so I don't know where he's at. But I'll have to say this for him. That's a pretty good build because that guy, either he never goes down or we don't have to worry about it. We're not even on the third wave. I don't know what we're doing. Why am I following them? I don't know. This part of video is usually where I want to thank you for watching. I appreciate all the new subscribers. I appreciate the old subscribers. I'm going to tell you what a great day today is. I put out a video around 7 o'clock from gameplay from yesterday. This is the first thing I did after I did the video. I went and just did this. So I'm able to do this the very night, so I'm going to get one day ahead, which I love it. I appreciate everyone with the comments. There's Just a Gamer, who's a new person that's on there. There's always Super Slanky. There's Rich / Sloth. There's Ultimate Shield. And if you want to go check out someone's channel that has a great perspective, please go to Ultimate Shield 340's channel. This person has a great view of the game. He does DZ content. He's going to show you the nuts and bolts. I'm going to tell you about a build, and I'm going to talk about it in a more, it's not a better view, but I'm just going to talk about it from a more strategic, tactical, maybe strategic. I'm going to talk to you about strategy, I guess, sometimes some tactics. He's going to break it down nuts and bolts. This piece, this piece, this piece. He's going to show you the testing. Look what it does here. He has great videos. If you want to get better insights into the game, that's a person to follow and watch his channel. Also, to just let you know, I'm playing Destiny 2 also. I'm going to probably buy that Lightspeed patch. And one of the commenters in the channel, we did crossplay. I was giddy. That's what the Destiny 2 video is. We played on Destiny 2, and it was great. Now, I'm going to probably have to set up a Discord channel, and I'd love to play with anyone that's on here. So we don't have to make a clan. We can just play together because we want to play together. Let's see. So I appreciate that. Going through a good time right now where it's easy to put out videos. There's a lot of good content. I'm also doing Diablo Immortal. That's more of like it's easy for me to get in and out of it. And it's easy for me to record that. I can do that all on my either iPad or iPhone. That's it. So we did this in less than 30 minutes, and we weren't even trying. And so what I would tell you is, if you do have a clan or guild, try to get them to, you don't need to do speed runs, but that's one thing that you can do as a clan or guild to get better. If you have people in your guild, you can help run them through these things and help them get better. Again, this is Ronan Kazi. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate everyone that's subscribing, liking, and sharing the content. I will see you again soon. Bye.